Today we'll talk about conjunctions. In A1, you are not supposed to know 20 conjunctions. You're just supposed to know, I believe, five or six. But why do you want to wait till you go to A2 or B1 and then learn the rest of the conjunctions? So I've taken slides from B1 sessions and I have added those over here. So we'll cover all the conjunctions that you should know till you reach B1 level. So there is nothing harm in it. Also, we'll do some practice. I mean, the idea behind practice is that I want you to feel bad about not practicing German enough or not doing homework or not doing any writing So the idea is that I will give you some sentences that I think we all say from time to time, and I will ask you how to say those in German. And yes, the fourth topic is we will try to uh, this is just my calculations. I will tell you exactly how many words, exactly how many German words, including nouns, verbs, adjectives, everything. How many words do you need to learn? We talk about learning a language or German has three things. You have grammar, you have vocabulary, and the third part is rhythm, or you can say it's practice. You know? Grammar, you are learning right now. Rhythm, grammar, anybody can teach you. Rhythm, you need to practice. You need to practice how to say. At the right moment, the right kind of vocabulary has to pop up in your head. The second, that is vocabulary, you have to learn. But then the question is, how many words do I need to learn? We'll try to figure that out today. Okay, before we start, we start talking about conjunctions, we'll do a very quick recap on sentence structure because when you start learning about conjunctions, the sentence structure changes. Conjunctions have their meaning and you can use them. So if you have a sentence and if you put a conjunction over there, for example, I learn German is a statement. Because I learn German. That's why I learn German. Instead, I learn German. Now, these are conjunctions. When you add them, the sentence, the section, in English, there is not much change. But in German, the sentence structure changes. So before we figure out how the sentence structure changes when we use conjunctions, we'll try to understand what sentence structure normally is in German language. Okay, guys, any questions, feel free to ask. This is a very quick revision of the last important topics from the last 9 or 10 sessions, I believe. So, uh, let's say, a normal sentence in German, has a subject, has a verb. It may or may not have an object. Object is not necessary. Now, that verb has to be conjugated. Okay, conjugated mean, for example, in English we say, I read, he, she, it, he reads, and the verb changes. Similar thing happens also in German. For example, there is this verb schreiben. For example, my boss asks me, can you write a report? So I will say, yes, I am writing the report. Ich schreibe, ich schreibe. What's report in German? Anyone knows what is report in German?
Detail.
No, Detail. No, Detail is details. Report is something else, something with Bericht.
Bearbeiten.
No, bearbeiten is a verb. Bearbeiten is a verb. What does bearbeiten mean, guys?
To be ready.
No, this is to edit. So after I write the report, my boss will say, this is not correct. Please edit the report. That will be bearbeiten. Uh, uh,
Can you give the verb for what was like what is to be ready? It is also something whereby
Give me an example, like ready what?
to be
Like,
ready. To be
like
ready for something. So there's I'm
bereit.
forgetting
That
there's
is
a
bereit.
verb.
That is bereit.
Yeah,
It's not a
bereit.
verb.
Right,
It's
right.
like bereit sein. So ich bin bereit. For example, let's say I and a friend of mine we want to go in the park, and I ask him, bro, are you ready? He'll say, yeah, ich bin bereit. I'm ready.
Got it.
This is an
Yeah.
adjective, or you can. I mean, really don't know what's adjective and adverb. I think bereit is an adjective. Yes. So it's a
Got it.
yeah. Uh, but there is also that's not the topic, but okay. So ich schreibe, bin ich der, die, das? Anyone knows? Masculine, feminine, accusative.
Liberist.
It is, one thing in German language. If you, it's fine. Okay, those who are answering, I will attack you. So don't feel bad. It's good you're answering, but I cannot just like accept wrong answers. So I will say some nasty things. If you, so there are three genders. Das, there, the masculine, feminine, neutral. The first thing when you look at a noun, uh, if you make mistake between there and das, it's fine. But if you make, so if if first thing, if I give you a noun, you should tell me whether it is feminine or otherwise. That is the first thing. Okay, so berisht is not feminine. Okay, now whether it is there or thus, it's there. Okay, and because it is there, it will become then, because berisht, this is in accusative case, this is the direct object. I hope I made sense when I told you, like, when you look at a noun, first check whether it is feminine or something else. Okay, yeah, so this is a normal sentence. Okay, now what about if I use a modal verb as well? Okay, so if I use a modal verb, I will have subject, I will have modal verb, then I may or may not have the object, and then I will have the actual verb of the sentence. My boss asks, Rohit, are you writing, can you write the report? And I will say, yes, I can write the report. So ish, right? What, how can I say can?
Kan.
Kan, kan. So kyonen, for ish it becomes kan. Then what is the, again the same thing, object remains the same, then berished. Now, I will write
Schreiben.
here schreiben, right? Schreiben. So I will not conjugate this one, because you only conjugate what is at the second position. So this one, so let me just write this over here in brackets, conjugate it. This one will remain in its infinitive format, okay? Or just how it is. Okay, ich kann den Bericht schreiben. Again, notice second position taken by the conjugated verb, second position taken by the conjugated verb. What about if I now let's stay here. Okay, let's talk to like verbs, but instead of like a verb, let's say if my boss says, can you prepare the report? Prepare, how do you say prepare? How do you say prepare? Or okay, how do you say, let's say if my boss, my boss said, Rohit, can you write the report? I said, yeah, ich habe den Bericht geschrieben. And my boss says, can you forward the report to me? Okay, notice what I'm saying, forward, not send. How do you say forward? Forward an email. What is the verb to say forward? Come on, all of you are sending emails every day. Okay, it's vital item. Okay, the verb is vital item. Okay, now this is a trennbare verb. That means trennbare verb separate means this, the prefix part, this has to be separated, not always, but in a normal sentence. So I will say ish, and then I will have the object. Okay, let's say if I'm saying I'm forwarding the email, then berished, and here the prefix has to go at the last position, so weiter. Okay, and whatever the rest of the verb is, we have to conjugate that part. Okay, ich leite then berischt weiter. Any questions so far? So, normal sentence, subject, conjugated verb, may or may not have the object. Normal sentence, but you don't have a normal verb, you have a separable verb or trennbare verb. Here, you separate the prefix, push it at the last, again, the very last position. When I say last, it has to be just before the full stop. Okay. For example, if I say I'm forwarding I forward the email to you at 6 a.m. Okay, not 6 a.m. is too early. Let's say 6 p.m. So 6 Uhr. But okay, to be, yeah, this is much better. Okay, notice the prefix has to be at the last position. Okay, now let's come back here. When you use modal verb, so you have subject, modal verb, you conjugate the modal verb. At the very last position, you have the actual verb. It will be in its infinitive format. You may or may not have object. No. So now what happens if you, instead of schreiben, I'm saying, my boss says, Rohit, kannst du den Bericht weiterleiten? Right? Can you forward the email? I'll say, yeah, yeah, of course I can. I can forward the email. Then I will say, ich kann den Bericht. The good thing about modal verben is that they treat a normal verb and a trennbare verb the same way. So all you have to do is just write the trennbare verb as it is in infinitive format. Any questions so far? Okay, if no questions, let's continue. So we discussed, normal sentence in present tense, not like, normal verb, trennbare verb, a normal verb with modal verb, trennbare verb with modal verb. Let's talk about past tense. I think it's getting too small. Okay, let me do something else. Yeah. Anyone wants to help me if I want to say, my boss says, Rohit, you did not forward the email to me yet yesterday at 6, du hast den Bericht nicht gestern 18 Uhr weitergeleitet. I will say, boss, I did forward the email to you. Or the report. How do I say? I did forward the email to you. You should know this. We discussed this in last session.
Ishwar?
Ishwar, I, not really. Okay. So
Ich habe schon gesendet, oder?
no, don't, so gesendet, it's fine, so in real life, of course, your boss will agree that, what you said is fine. But I'm just telling you, just, you have to use the verb. Let's say, you meant ich habe schon gesendet. It's correct. Okay. Then we add the, berisht over here. Okay. This is fine. Okay. Instead of gesendet, I can say weiter geleitet. Okay. This is the participle zwei, so uh, you used haben, so here at the second position you have the haben is a helping verb. Okay. At the last position you have the actual verb. Here you have the actual verb, but this verb is in its participle zwei format. Okay. This verb is in its participle zwei format. uh, so basically when you write something in past tense, there are two ways. You can use preteritum. Okay. Or you can go with participle zwei. Okay. uh, the thing with preteritum is, okay, let's talk about preteritum. Let's say if I say, ich, for example, ich bin ein data engineer. Okay. Of course I can write in German Dateningenieur. It's fine. Okay. Okay. Now if I want to say I was a mechanical engineer. Okay. So instead of bin, I will say ich war ein Maschinenbau, and you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. This is fine. This is using preteritum. Okay. So it's just that every verb has four conjugations. I hope you know what I'm saying, right? Every verb, like, every verb, you have to conjugate it for each pronoun, but normally you only conjugate for ich, du, er, sie, es, ia, and for every other pronoun, it's the actual verb itself. Similarly, in if you want to go the preteritum way when talking about past tense, you have to learn this similar number of conjugations for the past tense as well. Okay. Now, just one sec. Think I'm trying to cover something that we discussed like over 1 hour in the last session, so that's why it's a little bit confusing. But okay, let's not talk about preterito. Let's keep talking about. Okay, we'll talk about participes. Why not? Let me just uh, go back to s- slides from last slide, and let's just do it. Okay. Okay. Uh, Heads up if you can still see the slides, because I'm sharing some new slides now. Just thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I have some sentences. Oh, thank you very much. I have some sentences over here. For example, I'm a web developer. I was a programmer. I am 28 years old. I was 27 years old. I have a solution. I had a problem. Now, if you want to say, I'm web developer, so you will have, ich bin eine. I mean, if I'm thinking I'm a woman, I will say eine Webentwicklerin. If I'm saying you are, then instead of bin, I will have to say bist. Okay. For er, sie, es, it's ist. Okay. For ihr, it is seid, and for wir, sie, it is the same. Okay. Now, if you want to say instead of am, you have to say was. It's not that difficult. You can still, mug up. So for ish, you have to remember var. For do, was. RZS, var. Ia, vart. And for via, zz, it's the same. Okay. Similarly, have, you can remember, ich habe, du hast. RZS, hatte. Sorry. I think it should be hat and not hatte. Okay. RZS, hat. Ihr habt. And for via, zz, it's haben. So you remember just four conjugations, four different. And for via, zz, it's mostly the actual verb itself. Okay. Again, here for again it's same. Ich hatte, du hattest, er, sie, es hatte. Ihr hattet. For wir zizi, it's hatten. You think, it's not that difficult. Now, this is the preteritum way of talking in past tense. But wait till I make your life difficult, So you have this verb over here, offer. Okay, so I offer you something, I offer you a solution. There are different ways to say offer, but in this context, to say offer in German, you will have to use the verb anbieten. Okay, anbieten. And if it's a trennbare verb, so an will be at the last position. In present tense, you conjugate. Maybe someone can read these sentences for me. Anyone who feels like reading? Anyone feels like reading? You can
Ich
just,
biete,
yeah. Please read all the sentences. Like,
ich biete dir eine Lösung an.
yeah,
Du bietest dir eine Lösung an.
yeah.
Er, es, sie bietet dir eine Lösung an. Wir bieten dir eine Lösung an. Ihr bietet dir eine Lösung an. Sie oder sie bieten dir eine Lösung an.
So life is still pretty much easy, right? So you have to remember for ish, do, rzs, via. Sorry, for via and zz it's the same. So it's actually the same verb. Like you don't have to remember like extra beaten because it's the same unbeaten. You have to remember for ish, do, rzs, and ia. Please read this sentence as well. All this on the ones on the right side.
Ich bot dir eine Lösung an. Du botest dir eine Lösung an. Er, es, sie bot dir eine Lösung an. Wir boten dir eine Lösung an. Ihr botet dir eine Lösung an. Sie boten dir eine Lösung an.
Okay. Now, when I learned this for the first time in A1 level, I was really scared. Why I was scared was because my teacher made me remember four different varieties of the same verb, to learn conjugations in present tense. Then when I saw, I was like, okay, now I have to remember four more, and my teacher gave me rules, So how do like, for example, this beta became boat. So on the last slide, for bin became war, you were not that much, terrified. I was not terrified. Haber became harder, still life is easy. But when you think about, all the verbs that you have to learn in German language, it just makes your life twice difficult. You have to learn all the conjugations in present and then the same ones in past tense as well. Of course, there are rules, but when you're talking to someone, it's difficult to go through all the rules and conjugate the verb at simultaneously. So there is this is going the preteritum way. Okay, there is a simple solution. Can you please the same? I did not see the name. Can you please read this sentence as well? uh, the person who was reading, I did not see the name. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ich habe dir eine Lösung angeboten.
yeah,
Du hast dir eine Lösung angeboten.
yeah.
Er, sie, es hat dir eine Lösung angeboten. Wir haben dir eine Lösung angeboten. Ihr habt dir eine Lösung angeboten. Sie haben dir eine Lösung angeboten.
Okay, thank you very much. Now this is going the participle zwei way. Now again, of course, I agree that this is angeboten. This is something that you have to learn. But grammar is with participle zwei. At the second position, you have the verb haben, and you conjugate it in present tense, even though you are saying something in past tense. But when framing haben, you have to conjugate in present tense. And at the last position, the verb unbeaten, you have to put right its participle zwei format. Now if you go the preternative way, you have to remember four new varieties of the same verb. But if you go to the participes y way, you don't have to. You just have to remember one more variety. So instead of learning four more new words, let's say if you have to learn 1,000 verbs, you will have to learn 4,000 new words. But here you only have to learn one. So your life just like you have to learn only 1,000 new words instead of 3,000 new words. Okay, so this is, and haben you already know how to conjugate. Okay, now uh, again this is the same thing telling you about the grammar. uh, Now participes y, the helping verb haben. Now question is, I mean, do you have to use haben all the time? No. So you also have to use bin or sein. Okay, you have to use sein. Now, when to use sein, when to use haben, they both are referred to as helping verbs in this context. When to use haben, when to use sein. By default, use haben. Okay, you're not sure what to use haben. If you write 10 sentences, 9 will be haben, if one will be sein. Now, when we do you have to use sein? Whenever your sentence is describing some kind of motion from point A to point B. If you want to say I drove my car, or I did drive my car, here there is some motion, right? So you will have to use bin. So ich bin gefahren. Okay, so any questions? Okay. So far, what we discussed, the conjugated verb is at the second position. Okay, remember this. The conjugated verb is at the second position. Now let's go to conjunctions. Okay, so this is we covered, all the sentence structure. Let's talk about these conjunctions. Anyone who wants to read, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I will have to pick someone. Okay, I see Sheikh, Sheik. Do you feel like reading these words for me? The ones in the blocks? Just have to read. That's it. Okay, I want to read. Uh, D, do you want to read?
Sure.
Yeah.
Aber, then, und, sondern, oder, doch, jedoch, allein.
So align we can ignore. Okay. If you know, or if you don't know, maybe get guess what is the meaning of these are all. Okay, guys, don't try to read everything on the slides. Just focus on what I'm trying. So if you don't mind, you can tell me the meanings, or you can guess what the meaning of these are conjunct. What do you think aber means?
It's but.
Okay, then.
It's then. Then.
No, it's not that. Okay, what is on
Und,
then?
and,
Okay, what is order of? It's obvious, I believe.
or,
Or what is Zonden?
Neither,
Sorry, can you repeat?
neither,
You mean
neither
rather,
but.
like rather, rather, rather?
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
it means rather or instead. Okay. What do you think Dane means, Sheikh? Okay, anyone knows what Dane means?
If
No, Dane does not mean if. Okay, yeah, it can mean if, but you have to think of Dane as something like because, or when you say Dane, right? I mean, in my head, I mean, if you check in online what Dane means, they can give you different meanings. But Dane is normally when you say Dane, you are giving a reason. Okay. For example, if ich kann, also ich kann Deutsch sprechen, denn ich wohne hier seit 7 Jahren. Okay, so I'm giving a reason. I'm saying I can speak German because I'm living here since 7 years. Of course, I can also say instead of because I can say I can speak German as I have been living here since 7 years. Now, whether I say as or whether I say because, or I'm just giving a reason. So with then you are giving a reason. Okay. Uh, we'll ignore doc, year doc align because these are B1 levels. Don't want to really discuss the meanings right now. So we discuss aber, den, und, sondern, oder, right? Uh, I don't think you should use mnemonics when you're learning a language, but if you're preparing for an exam, you can think of this as aduso, a, de, u, s, o, aduso. Okay, so these are called as coordinating conjunctions. No one is going to ever ask what they are called. But what is the good thing about them? The sentence structure does not change at all. Okay, so when you use them, you don't have to do anything with the sentence. For example, ich will Deutsch lernen. It means I want to learn German. If I put aber over here or den und sondern anything, any of these, the sentence structure does not change. All that happens is that aber just comes and sits in the front. That's all that happens. Any questions about these types of conjunctions? Okay, if not, anyone? Karthikeyan, thank you. I see you joined the call. Please read all the conjunctions. This ones.
okay,
Yeah. And if you can give me
Be-
the okay, just read all of them and then one more time and maybe tell me the meanings if you know. Yeah.
oh yeah, sure. Before knock them, bis Zeitem, Wachren,
Nah, Karthikeyan, come on. Way, not wa. Way.
Wären,
Yeah.
Wen, Wen, One, Ob, Alles,
Not alles, just als.
Als.
Yeah.
Sodas,
No,
Das,
not the, not like donkey, like the, they, for example, they, like THEY they, that sound of the. So zodas, not yeah.
Das, Weil, Das, Sobal, Sobal, Solange, Awful,
Obwohl, obwohl.
Abol. Yeah, Abol. Before means before. Is it before?
Yeah, means before. Yeah.
Knock them after that.
Yeah.
Bis till Zeitem since
Yeah.
where and sorry, I don't know where and
Okay. Go on. Just tell me which ones you know.
when when uh, one sorry, I don't know when. So one means when actually.
Yeah.
Okay. No, sorry. Al, als, as.
Yeah. You
Uh,
can als. Yeah. Yeah. As is correct. Yeah. Continue.
the, thus, thus is thus actually. THUS.
No.
It's not. Okay. Why? Okay. So does I don't know. While because this I don't know. And sorry, I don't know. Dabit. No, I
Okay.
don't know other item.
No problem. Anyone knows what variant means? You can just unmute and give me the answer. I hope I was not too rude in the beginning when you guys were giving answers. Yeah. Anyone wants to tell me what variant means? Really? No one? Okay. Uh, variant means, let me give you an example. Okay. Okay, let's not give an example. Variant means during, during something. Okay. Ob means whether, for example, I'm thinking whether I should, buy a couch or a sofa. Ich überlege, ob ich ein Sofa oder eine Couch kaufen soll. Whether. Okay. Als and seit, uh, or als is like, you should say as, but for example, if I say als ich 7 Jahre alt war, blah blah blah, so als you can think of as or when, but when you say als, you are describing a specific moment in time which is not repetitive. For example, when I finished my masters, of course you can do multiple masters, but again, normally people just have one masters. When I was 7 years old, so uh, you can say vain. Vain also means, like when I was 7 years old, vain. But when I'm saying 7 years old, a specific moment happened. It's a once in a lifetime event. So I should use als and not vain. Okay. Uh, we'll skip one for now. Okay. Das means that. So das means so that. That's the only difference. And I have written das twice. That's a mistake. So bald. What do you think bald means, guys? Just bald. If I say bis bald, what am I saying?
Again,
Soon.
No, again,
Again.
not again. Bald means something else.
Soon.
Soon, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, so bald, for example, if I say, let's say, Karthikeyan and I, we go out, we are meeting somewhere with other friends, and just when we are about to leave, Karthikeyan is a good friend of mine. Karthikeyan says, Rohit, bitte, gib mir eine Nachricht, sobald du zu Hause bist. So, what do you think Karthikeyan is trying to say? So, Karthikeyan is saying, Rohit, bitte schreib mir eine Nachricht, sobald du zu Hause bist.
It seems
We
like as soon
Yeah,
as
as soon as yeah. Okay. Then what do you think Zolanga means?
I think as long as.
As long as, yeah. Obwohl, Obwohl is Karthikeyan is a good friend of mine, of course. So he told me, like, give me a message, and and I did not do it. And the next day, Karthikeyan is saying, obwohl ich dir das gesagt habe, hast du es nicht gemacht. Karthikeyan is angry, did not write him a message, and he's saying, obwohl ich dir explizit gesagt habe, dass du mir eine Nachricht schreibst, hast du es nicht gemacht. What do you think obwohl means?
Although.
Although, even though, something like that. Yeah. Okay. So, damit, we'll skip that for now. Damit, we'll skip it. No problem. Yeah. So, but the meanings are fine. What is important is that when for example, with these ones, especially the like aber, den, und, sondern, oder, there is no change in the sentence structure. But with these ones, what will happen is that the conjugated verb has to leave its position. Okay, I'm saying the conjugated verb. Okay, the conjugated verb has to, normally it has to leave, and it has to go and take the last position just before the full stop. So, ich will Deutsch lernen. If I use any of these, okay, so what will happen is that will, which was the conjugated verb, is no more here. It will go over here. Okay. Now, when you are talking to someone, when you are talking to your boss or someone like that, if you use this verb or this one, and for example, if you are thing, I can share the slides as PDF. I have no problem with it, but it will just sit in your computer. You'll find better slides online. Yeah, but I will share, no problem. Yeah. So now,
Sorry, here one
yeah,
question. So in the second one, subordinating conjunction.
yeah,
So you mentioned the last position is the verb or conjugated verb, correct?
yeah, yeah.
So for example, in case of participle zwei, okay,
Mm.
that is how the this will last actually that have plus that verb will come or how?
You tell me. You tell me. Okay. So so your grammar is perfect. So you said, like, let's say this is ich habe Deutsch
Gelernt.
gelernt. Now, if I write nach dem, okay, so of course I will become small now. What do you think else will change in the sentence structure? What is the conjugated verb, Karthikeyan, in this sentence?
Gelernt.
No, that is not the conjugated verb. That is the verb in participle SOI format.
Okay.
This is the conjugated verb, right? The verb, the verb at the second position. So it has to leave this
Okay.
position, and it has to go here. Yeah, nach dem
Okay.
ich, that's it. So, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Fine. Okay.
So now, what I was trying to say is that when you are talking, let's say if you use one of these conjunctions because you learned them, and you, instead of saying "Solange ich Deutsch lernen will," you did not. You just said "Solange ich will Deutsch lernen." It's fine. No one is, your teacher may cut your marks in exam, but in real life, it's fine. People, what you're trying to say. Okay, it's fine. Believe me, it's not that big a deal. Yeah. Let's talk about these ones. Now, these ones, so these are called as conjunctional adverbian. So they are like conjunctions where, but they are also adverbs. That's why the name. Uh, you can. Anyone wants to read? There's.
Sonst,
Yeah, please read. Yeah.
sonst, deshalb, daher, deshalb, daher,
Deshalb. Deshalb. No, not sure. Deshalb. That's it. Deshalb.
deshalb,
Yeah.
daher, deswegen, darum, aus diesem Grund, allerdings, außerdem, auch, trotzdem,
Okay. So
trotzdem.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. We'll ignore auch. Auch. We'll ignore. Um, the other ones, if you know the meanings, or you can guess the meanings, or will help you guess the meanings by telling you stories. So, Zons. Just tell me which ones you know.
Deshalb means because.
Yeah, deshalb means because. Daher,
Therefore,
yeah, therefore. No, deshalb does not mean
zone,
because. Again, sorry, this is also therefore. Yeah, sorry. Deshalb also means deshalb, daher, deswegen, uh, darum. They all mean therefore or as a of course now what is the difference between deshalb, daher? When I say therefore, you'll say so. Sometimes in English, we have therefore, as a result, thus, hence. Now when to, if I ask you, explain me in English when to use which one, you will say, I know when to use which one, but I cannot explain to you when to use which one. This is the same with German. Of course, I can tell you exactly when to use which one because but it is even. So the good thing is that you start using these interchangeably, but as you progress, you will learn when to use which one. When, for example, hence, I don't think I use it as much. The last time I used when I was, like doing mathematics, hence proved. That's all. Okay. So deshalb, daher, deswegen, darum, they all mean therefore. But when to use which one, in context comes with practice. Aus diesem Grund. What do you think it means? I think it's obvious.
due to this reason, something.
Yeah. Yeah, something like
As
that.
the result,
uh, as a result will be like not exactly fit because aus diesem Grund it's literally saying because due to this reason or from literally it will say from this reason, but from that does not make sense. So because of this reason. Okay, again, this is not a conjunction, but I put it here because you can use it. Okay. Zones, zones. uh I work from home, so that there's not much activity unless until the office has some free dinner, then I will go to office. But yeah, so if I sit at home, I have to go to gym, so ich muss ins Fitnessstudio gehen, sonst nehme ich zu. Okay, I think you don't know the verb zunehmen. Okay, ich muss ins Fitnessstudio gehen, sonst werde ich faul. What do you think zones means?
Else.
Yeah,
Sorry.
zones or otherwise. Else, not else exactly, but otherwise. Otherwise. Okay. Now, uh, the same conjunction can have different similar meanings. So you have to in this session you will learn the meanings. If you don't learn them, believe me, you will forget after 10 days. So the good thing is that you have to use them. Allerdings, it's something like. Uh, Even though but it can also be used as indeed you know but okay, we'll ignore earnings for now. What do you think außerdem means?
After
Besides,
that,
Not after that, no. Mm,
beside,
beside,
Besides, you can say besides, besides. Trotzdem.
certainly.
No, it's not certainly. Trotzdem means though, the same thing,
nevertheless,
sorry.
like
Nevertheless,
nevertheless,
I'm not sure, but I think, let me think if you can use it in that. Yeah, you can say it, nevertheless, like something, I told you to call me, nevertheless, you did not call me. Something like that. Okay. So,
But then what does this sentence that's written would mean?
which one?
Trotzdem will ich Deutsch lernen.
So, for example, ich, yeah, trotzdem, yeah. So let's, I, I don't have enough time, even though I want to, even though I want to, okay. Okay, no, this example does not make sense. Yeah, you are right. I mean, so it also, this will mean literally like though I want to learn German. Okay, but let me. Let me think if it makes sense now. Anyone feels like helping with an example which will be appropriate over here? Trotzdem hast du nicht Deutsch gelernt. Let me think. I will come back to this example. Okay. Yeah, I'll come back to this example. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Meanwhile, if anyone can think of a better example, again, the meaning.
Maybe we can
Yeah.
maybe we can use
Like I
two conjugations in this. So it could be trotzdem hast du nicht Deutsch gelernt, aber ich. I mean, it's like, but I still teach. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
you
Something like
and
that.
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not, you're
You're
like
right.
teaching and
like
you're
we
not
can say
learning.
like we can say I like pasta even though I like to eat pizza.
Mm. Yeah, but you can say it, but I think trotzdem is still very, it's like it's a very heavy conjunction. You can the examples that you gave, it can be used, or but I think you have to I don't think I use trotzdem that often because you can use it, but like you have to use it in the right context. Maybe I'll think of some example, towards the end. Something comes to me. Okay. Yeah. But what the example, so I think the gave, right? So normally when you use a conjunction, right, when you just don't use say something, right, because when you use a conjunction, something has to be before that, right? I mean, if I just say aber ich will Deutsch lernen, out of nowhere, if I say it, it doesn't make sense, right? There has to, like, there should be some context, right? Why am I saying, we don't just start a sentence with a conjunction, right? Normally they find themselves in a like somewhere within the paragraph is what I'm trying to say. Yes. Yes. Any more questions? If not, okay, we'll ignore these. Yeah, we'll ignore this is like something B1, so we'll ignore these. But the thing about conjunctions, so like this, these are all. You don't have to know all of them. Uh, but you don't have to use all of them, but you should be aware when someone else is using them. We all have different circles, and believe me, everybody has a way of talking. We all have used different words, so check which words are being used in your circle, professional or social circle, and use those words. Questions? Okay, no questions. uh if I have done that, let's do some very quick exercise. Okay, so I have written some sentences which I think, so the one way to learn German is to just journal your entire day in German language. It will take some time, but that means, you write exactly every activity that happens in your day. For example, every day I turn my laptop on in the morning. Okay, not every day, but like, once in a week. But let's say I turn my laptop on every day. How do I say this in German? So for this, you have to know what is the verb for turning on and what is the noun for laptop. How do you say turn on something? What is
Anmachen.
the anmachen?
Anmachen.
Yeah. Laptop. Laptop. It's the same thing. There
Yeah,
is no
laptop.
special word in German language for laptop. So what is the entire sentence?
Äh, Ich mache meinen
Ich
Laptop
mache
ein.
mein Laptop an.
Okay, ich mach mein Laptop on. Right. So, or here I'm using the verb anschalten. Anmachen is correct, but I'm using like specific verb anschalten, or you can also say einschalten. They both are more or less right. So, now I have written mine in brackets mine, and if you go and check online, they will say laptop is there as well as thus. So if it is thus, then it will be mine. If it is there, then it is mine. And after I turn my laptop on, of course I have to enter my user ID. How do I say enter to enter something? If you go to buy something from a supermarket, at the end you have to swipe your
Eingeben.
Eingeben. Very good.
Eingeben.
Eingang.
No,
Eingang.
Eingang will be entry. Eingang is entry, like Eingang, Ausgang. So the verb
Yeah.
Karthikeyan which gave is correct. Eingeben. So sentence, please. Karthikeyan sentence.
Ich gebe, ich gebe ähm, meine User an.
So no, ich gebe. You can just say user ID. Germans know what user ID is. You don't have to use the German word Benutzer ID, but if you can use Benutzer ID or Benutzer ID, it's fine. Ich gebe blah blah ein. That blah blah is the Benutzer ID. Okay, this user ID also is called as Benutzer Kenung. Anyone knows Benutzer Kenung is there, the or das?
The
Why?
is a UNG ending.
Yeah, so anything which ends with UNG or ONG, it's always, almost always the. This one is obvious, just, just have to know how to say password.
Ich gebe the password or the Kennwort ein.
Perfect. Das Passwort, can what? Okay. Now, after once I do it, of course, yeah, I turn the browser on. Yeah, I open the browser. How do I say I open something? Open. How do you say to open?
Hausmachen.
Nah, Karthikeyan. Hausmarken is to close.
Okay,
Öffne,
sorry.
öffne.
Yeah, öffnen is correct. Okay.
Afnan, sorry.
Yeah, but Ausmachen is close, Aufmachen is
Okay.
open, but you cannot use Aufmachen over here because Ausmachen, Aufmachen, when this is in my head or the way I learned, Ausmachen, Aufmachen are used when there is some physical opening and closing being done. For example, do Tür aufmachen, Tür schließen. you know of course sometimes I have said this, like to close people who I wanted to make fun of, like, someday if you have time, come to my place, I want to open your head. So there I used aufmachen, gehen aufmachen, but again, that was a joke. Yeah. So ich
Okay.
öffne
Okay.
Google Chrome.
Okay.
This is obvious. Ich öffne Gmail. Now this one is of course, how do you say I enter my email ID? We just have to know how to say my email ID.
Ich gebe meine
Ich gebe meine E-Mail-ID ein.
Ein. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or email address
ich
or
gebe
whatever you want to
meine
say. I
E-Mail.
enter my password, mine password. Notice, here it
Ich
is
gebe
mine.
meine Passwort.
Yeah, Karthikeyan. Here it is mine. Here it is mine. Okay.
Okay.
Be
Okay.
careful. Yeah. Calendar. After I have done enough waste of time in the morning, I have to open my calendar and see which meetings I have. So, what do you say calendar in German?
Calendar only. K.
Yeah. Ka.
Calendar.
Yes. Perfect. There
Calendar.
the das Karthikeyan.
Mm,
Anything which ends with air is
Der.
masculine.
there.
Yeah,
There.
yeah. So mine and calendar.
Calendar.
Now I usually have a daily, and then I in the calendar I see a meeting and I click on the meeting. How do you say click?
Klicke.
Klicken. Ich klicke. Now
Klicke auf
here
das Befehl.
I'm using the preposition auf. Some things you should learn before you reach that level. Like to use verbs with correct prepositions. This you learn around like higher levels of A2 and beginner levels of B1, but some things you can just learn right now. Okay, ich klicke auf die Besprechung. I can also say das meeting instead of die Besprechung. I start the meeting. How do you say I start? How do you say to start? Come on. How do you
Ich
say it?
beginne.
And anfangen.
Ich beginne.
You said, let me just write the. Just give me all the. You can tell me what all
Ich
you think.
beginne.
Beginner is one.
Erstellen.
What else? Stellen what?
Erst- Ja, erstellen.
Stellen. Okay. What else? Okay.
Starten.
Starten. Yes. What else? Okay, so starten, anfangen, beginnen, they all mean to start. But anfangen is not really, it does not fit over here. Uh, Anfangen, when you cannot use an object. Okay, you cannot just say we start. So for example, wir fangen an, du fängst an. Just there cannot be an object. When you use anfangen, beginnen and starten, there can be an object. So you can use beginnen or starten. Both are fine. Echelon does not mean to start. What do you think echelon means? My boss says, Rohit, du musst Then berischt erstellen. What do you think he's saying?
Create something.
Create something. So
Complete.
erstellen, complete. No, complete is something else. How do you say complete in German, guys?
Fertig.
Vielleicht,
Fertig machen. Fertig is just,
Fertig.
so I'm saying a verb. Okay, so a verb. Fertig machen. What else, Karthikeyan?
uh, vielleicht means maybe or
Vielleicht is
vielleicht.
it means maybe. Okay, so complete. It's a we are looking for verbs. Okay, so yeah, I think we have
Ich,
answered your questions. So I think so. How do you say I start the meeting? Ich starte die Besprechung or whatever else. Whenever I join a meeting, okay, now I have turned my camera on, but mostly I keep my camera off. So how do I say I turn off my camera or I turn my camera off?
Aufmachen.
Schalten.
Uh, Let me write. Just tell me whatever you think is right. So someone said aufmachen. Someone said Charlton. What else?
Ausschalten. Ausschalten.
Aus
Einschalten.
Oh,
Einschalten.
Einschalten. What else?
Abstellen.
Sorry.
No. Abstellen. नहीं.
Okay. So ausschalten is means to turn off. Aufmachen means to turn on. Okay. Ausmachen will be to turn off. Okay. Schalten is a verb. I cannot think of any example where I can tell you where to use it, so we'll ignore Schalten for now. But it does not mean to turn off. Okay. But what I can tell you is
Abschalten.
Aufschalten.
Abschalten.
Abschalten, you can say, yeah, but not. It's too. It's like bringing a gun to a knife fight. You don't have to use such heavy verbs to say turn off my camera. So, what does shelter mean, guys? In your walls there is this. You just do this and the light goes on or goes off. What is
Switch.
that thing? Switch. Yeah, yeah,
Switch.
switch. So I will go with ausschalten or ausmachen. I will not go with abschalten. Okay, abschalten is something like turning off a machine. Like there is a machine going on, and then even there I will not use it. Okay, yeah. Uh, so is schalte again. Aus prefix will be at the last position. The verb you conjugate, and then you have the object camera. Okay. Now turn on my microphone. How do I say this? To turn on. It's obvious, guys.
Ausmachen. No. Aufmachen.
Ich
Aufmachen.
Aufmachen.
schalte meine
Einschalten.
Mikrofon
Einschalten.
an.
Yeah. So someone said aufmachen, So someone said aufmachen. Literally, you are not wrong, So I just told you that, aufmachen means to open. But when you think of it like this, so if there is, for example, nowadays, I in my laptop, this thing is not there, but you can actually, move that, what do you call it? That slider that turns, that hides your camera or that makes the camera on, right? If you are doing that activity, or there is some physical activity, there you can say aufmachen. Okay, there you can say aufmachen, but it's just like click of a button. It is not aufmachen. You have to say uh,
Anmachen.
anmachen, yeah, or anschalten or something else. Okay, yeah. You can also say einschalten. I always get confused, when to say anschalten, when to say einschalten. The thing, but no one ever is going to tell you that you are wrong if you use these interchangeably. No one has told me that. Yeah, so far. So, and people always know what I'm trying to say. So I think again, aufmachen, ausmachen. There is some physical activity closing and opening going on. Yeah. So microphone, there the das, there the das. Okay, it's not a big deal if you don't know whether microphone is there the or das, but it will be again. I don't think they will. You will have to write simple such as an exam. But what is important is that you should know, whether something is there the or das, because I open the power. Normally when I have a meeting, I always have some presentation ready. So how do I say I open the PowerPoint file? How do you say file?
Berischt.
Datei.
Bericht is report. Datei is correct. So, ich öffne die Datei. Which Datei? PowerPoint Datei. Okay. You can also say Excel Datei. If it's an Excel file. Again, Bericht is report, not file. So now, when you learn something, because normally when you learn A1, I think you should spend at least 160 hours with your teacher or whoever is instructor. But because we are trying to do it within 12 to 18 to 24 hours, I can just tell you what you can do, as an additional homework. Whenever you learn a verb, in your head, a few things should go on, a few bulbs should turn on. The moment you learn a verb, you should ask, what is the opposite of this verb? What is the antonym of this verb? If you know the antonym, what are the other antonyms? Then you should ask, what is the synonym of this verb? If you know what are other synonyms? If you know one verb, you should think, okay, if how can I say the same verb, same thing with much more, uh, let's say in English, because I'm speaking English, I have to. For example, you have this verb, convince. You know, so to convince someone. Then there is this. I hope I don't get the spelling wrong. There is this verb acquiesce. Acquiesce is 1 degree higher than convince. For example, convince in a much better way is, I think, acquiesce. Okay, I'm not sure if the spelling is right. What I'm trying to say is that when you learn a verb, learn all the antonyms, learn all the synonyms, learn other verbs which can convey the same uh, meaning with much, uh, it's like, going speaking like a child and speaking like someone who goes to university. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so einschalten, ausschalten, opposites. Sperren. What do you think sperren means, guys? By the way, guys, this call will end because it's Google Meet. I will have to send. I will post the link in the group. Please, if you don't mind, you can join using that call. And if you don't mind, I will see you on Monday. But the session will for half an hour more. I will post the link in the group. I will end this call. Post the link in the group. Please join using that link. Any questions to what I just said? Okay. If
Okay.
not, then the call will end. I will post the link in the group. See you there.